Hello all, welcome to the session on relational model. Module 2 consists of relational model, relational algebra, mapping conceptual design into logical design, and SQL statements, some of the basic SQL statements like insert, delete, update. The relational model represents a database as a collection of relations. In formal relational model terminology, each row is called as tuples and column header is called as attributes. So the table is called as a relation. So the data type describing the types of values that can appear in each column is represented by a domain of possible values. Let us look into some of the basic definitions of a relational model. A domain D is a set of atomic values. Atomic means that each value in the domain is indivisible, which means it cannot be divisible. So the domain values cannot be of composite attributes or multivalued attributes. For example, a social security number, it consists of the 9-digit social security number, and the name, it consists of the set of character strings that represent the names of a person. The next is a relation schema R. A relation schema R is denoted by R within the brackets. The attributes is made up of relation name R and a list of attributes A1 to AN. A relation schema is used to describe a relation. The degree of a relation. The degree of a relation or arity of relation is the number of attribute n of its relation schema. For example, the degree of the relation student is 6 because there are 6 attributes in it. There are 6 attributes. Or the degree is also called as arity. It's nothing but the number of attributes in a relation. The characteristics of relations. There are 4 types of characters of relation, that is ordering of tuples in a relation, ordering of values within a tuple, values and nulls in the tuples, and the fourth one is interpretation of a relation. Let us understand about ordering of tuples in a relation. A relation is defined as a set of tuples. Elements of a set have no order among them. For example, the tuples in a relation student need not be in any particular order. So the definition of relation does not specify any order, which means the tuples can be of any order. So there is no preference for one ordering over another. Let us understand about ordering of values within a tuple. The order of attributes and their values is not that important as long as the correspondence between the attribute and the value is maintained. For example, there is no such rule that the name attribute should be in the beginning. As far as you can see here, in this particular tuple, I have mentioned the name and the values, and in this tuple, I represented it in the second column. So, which means there is no such rule that all the attribute should follow a particular order. Tuples can be considered as a set of attributes and values. The ordering of attribute is not important because the attribute name appears with its value. Values and nulls in the tuples. Each value in a tuple is atomic value. That is, it is not divisible. Hence, composite and multivalued attributes are not allowed. And the null values can be used to represent the values of attributes that may be unknown or may not apply to a tuple. For example, a student tuple have null values for office phone attribute because students do not have office. That's why it is null value. Another student has a null for a home phone because either he does not have a home phone or he has one but we do not know it. So if the value is unknown, also we can that particular attribute, that particular field can be null values. Interpretation of relation. Fourth characteristics. Each tuple in a relation can be interpreted as a particular instance of relation. For example, the schema of the student relation asserts that in general the student exists, a student entity exists and has attributes name, SSN, home phone and the address. Superkey. Before looking to the formal definition of superkey, let us understand some of the informal definition of superkey. The superkey stands for superset of a key. A superkey can have a redundant attributes. Let us consider the simple the structure of a table or structure of an employee relation. It consists of 5 attributes: employee ID, employee name, SSN, department ID and date of birth. The superkey of this relation is employee ID and employee name. A superkey is a set of one or more attributes that are taken collectively and can identify all other attributes uniquely. So it is, superkey is nothing but it is a one or group of attributes that uniquely identify a particular row. In this case, the superkey are employee ID and employee name. Let us understand about the formal definition of superkey. The subsets of attributes of a relation schema are with the property that any two distinct tuples T1 and T2 in a relation state R of R, we have the constraint that superkey of tuple 1 is not equal to superkey of tuple 2. Any such set of attribute is called superkey of relation schema R. So this is a formal definition of superkey, where it's nothing but it's a one or group of attributes that uniquely identifies a row. So the superkey can have a redundant attributes. Yes, now let us understand about key attribute. A key attribute, let us consider a simple example before going to a formal definition. Consider the student relation. In a student relation, the attribute set, so in a student relation, this SSN name comma age is a superkey, whereas SSN is a key attribute of a relation student. Let us understand what is key attribute. A key K of relation schema R is a superkey that satisfies two properties. The first property is that two distinct tuples in a relation cannot have identical values for all the attributes in the key. So this property also applies to a superkey. Two tuples cannot have a same values. And let us look into the second property, which is not applicable to the superkey. That is, it is a minimal superkey, that is a superkey from which we cannot remove any attribute and still uniqueness constraint holds. For example, if I consider this group of attribute is not a key, because here I can remove name and age. Even if I remove name and age, but still the uniqueness constraint holds. But as per the definition of a key, it is a superkey from which we cannot remove any attributes and still uniqueness constraint holds. So that's why I can say that this set of attributes is not a key attribute. So it is a superkey. This set of attribute can be set as a superkey because it has a redundant attributes and it is uniquely identifies a particular row. But this attribute I can say as a key attribute. Let us understand about candidate keys and primary keys. A relation schema may have more than one key. In that case, each of the keys are called candidate key. Now, for example, if you consider an employee table or employee relation, employee table can have a many number of candidates key. For example, employee ID, SSN, or if I consider Aadhaar number, PAN number. So all these are the candidate keys. Okay, so are individual columns in a table which uniquely identifies each tuple. So each table can have n number of candidate keys. Like in this table has employee ID and SSN as a candidate key. Now out of these two, one we are going to select as we are making it as a primary key. Any one candidate key can be considered as a primary key. The relation can have only one primary key. The relation can, look at this, the employee relation can have only one primary key, but employee relation can have many candidate keys. But a relation can have only one primary key. Yes, the primary key of employee relation, it can be either employee ID or SSN. Okay, so that is the difference between a candidate key and a primary key. Let us understand about entity integrity constraint. The entity integrity constraint states that no primary key value can be null. If I consider an example of a student relation, the USN attribute cannot be null, because if the USN attribute is null, we cannot identify a particular student. We cannot identify a particular student if the student USN attribute is null. So this is because the primary key value is used to identify individual tuples in a relation. Having null values for the primary key implies that we cannot identify some tuples. Let us understand about the referential integrity constraint. The referential integrity constraint is specified between two relations and is used to maintain the consistency among tuples in the two relations. Informally, the referential integrity constraint states that a tuple in one relation that refers to another relation must refer to an existing tuple in that relation. For example, let us consider these two relations, that is employee relation and a department relation. In department, we have a department number, that is a primary key. Department number is a primary key of a department table. And in an employee table, we have a department number. So this department number is a foreign key. So this foreign key refers the primary key attribute. So this is called as referential integrity constraint. Is specified between two relations and is used to maintain the consistency among tuples in the two relations. The value of this department number should refer the primary key attribute of department table. Next is the update operations and dealing with the constraint violations. So there are three basic operations that can change the states of relation in the database, that is insert, delete and update. What does insert do? It is used to insert one or more new tuples in a relation. Delete is used to delete the tuples, and update is used to change the values of some attributes in existing tuples. Yes, the insert operation can violate any of the following four types of constraints. Domain constraints can be violated if an attribute value is composite or multi-valued attribute, so which means that is a violation of a domain constraints. The key constraints can be violated if a key value in the new tuple already exists in another tuple in the relation. For example, a primary key value cannot have a duplicate values. If you try to insert a duplicate value to a primary key, which means it is a violation of a key constraint. Next is entity integrity can be violated if the primary key of the new tuple is null. If you try to insert a null value to a primary key, which means it is a violation of entity integrity. The next is referential integrity can be violated if the value of any foreign key refers to a tuple that does not exist in the reference relations. For example, a foreign key attribute value, if it does not matches with the reference relation, then it is a violation of a referential integrity constraint. Let us understand these constraints with an example. Yes, look at this example here. We have insert operation, and look at the fourth column. The fourth column here is null of an employee table. Look at it. What is there in the fourth column? Yes, it is SSN and it is a primary key. So a primary key cannot be null. So it is a violation of entity integrity constraint. Null for the primary key. Now let us look into the second insert command. In the second insert command, we look at the fourth column, fourth data, where the data is already available, which means we are trying to, the primary key cannot have a duplicate values. So it's a violation of a key constraint, because there cannot be the primary key value should be unique. It cannot have a duplicate values, because already in the third tuple the same SSN is available, and if you try to insert a same SSN, which means it is a violation of a key constraint. Let us consider a third example here. Yes, look at here. We are trying to insert a new tuple to a employee table where the department number is equal to 7. So this is a referential integrity constraint. Let me explain why it is a referential integrity constraint. Now look at this. We are trying to insert a value to the tuple, employee table, and meanwhile, if the department number is 7, here department number is a foreign key, and here in a department table this D number is a primary key. So this department number refers to a primary key of a department table. Now if the department number is 7, now I am trying to insert the data 7 here. So when I am trying to insert the data 7, but that 7 data is not available in the primary key, the department number in the department table, it is not available. So which means we are violating the referential integrity constraint. So this insertion violates the referential integrity constraints specified in a department number in employee, because no corresponding reference tuple exists in department number with the department number is equal to 7. Now this fourth one, this insertion satisfies all constraints. Now let us look into the delete operation. The delete operation can violate only referential integrity. So this occurs if the tuple being deleted is referenced by foreign keys from other tuples in the database. Let us consider this example. Delete the works on tuple with SSN and the SSN and P number is equal to 10. Yes, this deletion is acceptable and deletes exactly one tuple. Delete the employee tuple with the SSN is equal to 333, 444 and 555. Yes, this will throw an error, that is, it is a violation of referential integrity constraint. Let us look into this data set. Now let us look. Now I am going to delete a data from an employee tuple. That is, the SSN is 333, 444 and 555. Look at here. I am going to delete this data. Now if I delete this data, so this data is referred by works on. You can see here this particular, if I try to delete this, you can see here this particular attribute value is referred by the works on. You can see here 4 rows, and it is also referred by the department table. So if I delete, which means it will be null. So which means, so it is a violation of referential integrity constraint. So this deletion will result in even worse referential integrity violations, because the tuple involved is referenced by tuples from the employee department, works on and dependent relations as well. The next is update operation. The update operation is used to change the values of one or more attributes in a tuple of a relation R. It is necessary to specify a condition on the attributes. Every time when we update, we need to specify the condition on the attributes of the relation to select the tuple to be modified. Consider this example. Update the salary of the employee tuple with SSN to 28,000. So yes, it is acceptable. Again, update the department number of employee tuple with SSN is equal to so and so to 1. So yes, these two are acceptable. Yes, let us look into the third example on update operation. So in this example, we are trying to update the department number of employee tuple to 7. Let us look into this example. See here. So this is SSN. We are trying to modify the department number 4 to 7. So in reality, there is no such department with the number 7. So it is a violation of a referential integrity constraint. Let us look into the fourth example. Here we are trying to update the SSN of an employee to this. So again, it's an unacceptable because it violates the referential integrity constraint, because so this particular SSN in an employee table is referred by many other tables. For example, look at this particular SSN is been referred by the works on table also. Okay, so that's why it violates the referential integrity constraints. We cannot just modify the SSN. Yes, that's it. That's the end of the session. Thank you for watching this video.